The poem reveals three main characters: a historian, Kaufman, and Mrs. Old Wilson. Apart from them, the poem brings forth another character, an old dog as well. Stanza 1 depicts that a historian is visiting a farm, presumably because it is an old farm from the colonial period. He speaks to the Kaufman, who says he has worked for Mrs. Wilson since her husband died. The second stanza describes a dog that lives on the farm. The dog is chained up and spends its days mopping between the privy, the toilet, and fowl house, the chicken coop. He is trapped there, going back and forth between his two worlds. The third stanza portrays Mrs. Wilson in her home. The pictures that surround her represent the British heritage, the world her family has come from. She suggests her uncle was a baron, one of the highest ranks in England's aristocracy. Yet Miss Wilson is a colonial, which was considered to be one of the lowest ranks. These are her true pictures of home and show that even though she has lived in New Zealand for 80 odd years, she still does not see it as a home. In the fourth stanza, Mrs. Wilson comments on how people in the colonies, that is, Maori people, do not understand the concept of land ownership. Before the treaty or colonization, people did not individually own their own land, so it was a foreign concept to them. She implies they are less intelligent with her words. It also shows how much land the settlers received on their arrival, a land that was often simply taken. The fifth stanza returns to the milk shed, and we can see the historian is still talking to the Kaufman. He says he is leaving next winter as it is too quiet, which means not much of a life for him. In the sixth stanza, the historian analyzes the evidence of the place, and his conclusion is that the people, that is, the settlers, still long for the home they have left. The seventh stanza shows that the Kaufman and the rabbiter, the only one who is at home, the only one who feels New Zealand as home, are done with their day's work and is going off for a drink. The image of the northwest afternoon shows the characters are clearly not in England because the wind in England is generally northeasters or southwesters depending on the time of year. The symbolism of the confined dog is reinforced as it now looks lost and lame. Again, a fair description of the old woman. It shows the same reluctance towards its home, a barrel, that Mrs. Wilson does to hers. The great gloom referred to on line 38 is an intensification of the depressed, moody imagery established in the second stanza, which creates the atmosphere that these settlers who feel like exiles experience. The last line, with never a soul at home, emphasizes the sense of displacement they experience. From the poem, it is very clear that Mrs. Wilson is hopelessly obsessed with her past, and the future appears to hold no hope. The cowherd says that he is leaving the house due to the prevailing silent atmosphere. The house lacks happiness and merriment. It is haunted by utter hopelessness, as symbolized by the dog brooding in contemplation, and innate stagnation is visible as it is caught between the two worlds. The Kaufman leaves for the hill with rabbiter. Though it rains, it does not bring happiness. Here rain stands as a symbol of hope and redemption. The dog retires to its barrel, where it remains lost and lame. Lame and lost are two post-colonial words. The word lame suggests the handicap of the settlers as they missed their homeland. The settlers always felt themselves to be incomplete, though settlers never settled down. In short, we can see sentiments of alienation and cultural transformation even in their language. Philosophy of life is displaced. Their indigenous culture is polluted with cultural imperialism. The tone of the poem is rather depressed.